So in this lecture I'm going to talk about ethics and TESOL. And I'm going to start by looking at the mission statement of TESOL, that is TESOL the organization. So broadly speaking, TESOL's mission is to ensure excellence in English language teaching to speakers of other languages. And within that broad statement, TESOL specifies certain values. First, professionalism in language education. Second, individual language rights. Third, accessible, high-quality education. Fourth, collaboration in a global community. Four, interaction of research and reflective practice for educational improvement. And finally, respect for diversity and multiculturalism. So, we can ask certain questions here about that particular mission statement, and if you have answers to these, you can put them on the discussion board. So firstly, would you describe any of the issues that TESOL values as ethical positions? Do you agree or disagree with any of these positions? And secondly, can you think of examples of these issues in your own classroom teaching? Have you met them? Have you been in these situations? And third, are there any ethical positions you would like to add to this mission statement? What I'd like to do now is to illustrate some of those particular TESOL values and give you a question, a scenario, and you can respond to any or all of these on the discussion board. First one has to do with individual language rights. You teach English in a college on one of the Aleutian Islands in the Bering Sea. And you can see the map there. The Aleutian Islands come out in that long arm from Alaska, almost getting towards Russia. So you teach in these islands in the Bering Sea. You learn that the indigenous language, that's Onangam, is slowly dying. The young people you teach would rather speak English as their first language. Okay, so here's your question. How responsible do you feel for helping to contribute to killing off the indigenous language? And is there anything you could do about it? Second, the value of accessible, high-quality education. You are teaching English as a second language in Côte d'Ivoire in a public high school. You learn that half of the children leave school at the age of 11. Of those who continue in secondary education, only a small fraction of those students will have a chance to study English. The students in your class are mainly male and come from a small elite group in society. So, question, what if anything can you do for those who are not part of the elite, given the TESOL value of providing accessible, high-quality education? Is there anything you can do? Do you feel compromised by teaching just to a very privileged minority? 3, collaboration in a global community. You teach in an adult education second language class in a community college in New York. In your class, you have several Muslim students and Jewish students. You even have a Palestinian and an Israeli Jew. Given the composition of your class and your desire to create meaningful communicative discussion opportunities, do you engage your students on the issues of the Middle East? Or do you avoid these issues completely for fear of opening a can of worms, which would create an intolerable classroom situation? What do you do in that situation? If, as we've seen, one of the values, TESOL values, is working towards collaboration in a global community, are you going to try and seek out that collaboration within that little community in your adult ESL class? Are you going to forget about those underlying tensions between some of your students? 4, respect for diversity and multiculturalism. So now you teach English in a university in Japan. You learn that your students are unhappy about your use of first names with them. Usually first names are used in Japan only in the family or amongst close friends. Your choices are to use the Japanese family names with the honorific san, Fukuda-san, or use the English honorific Mr. Fukuda. Or you could insist on using first names, as this is part of the culture of the target language. Again, what would you do in this situation? Which is the path that you will steer with regard to the fact that we have a TESOL value of respect for diversity and multiculturalism? Finally, and this is not referring to a specific TESOL value, but it speaks to many of those particular values. And this is a scenario about company courses. So instead of teaching in the school, you're sent out to particular companies. So you work for a language school in Indonesia that does mainly company courses and short language training sessions. The company offers you the following two assignments. First, you have to teach a short course in English for specific purposes to a group of sex workers in Thailand. Their customers are mainly middle-aged American and European males. Do you have any qualms about accepting that particular position? Second, you are to teach English for specific purposes to a group of customer service workers in a new Bank of America call center in Indonesia. The existing call center in Atlanta, Georgia will be outsourced as soon as the Indonesian workers are trained. Again, do you have any qualms about taking that particular assignment? And you can think about not only the values that TESOL espouses, but maybe the particular ethical values that you may as an individual espouse with regard to those two particular situations. So I've given you several scenarios there, and what I'd like you to do is respond to one or more of these scenarios, those that you have strong views about, on the discussion board.